Namaste dear viewers, do you enjoy watching our animated Itihasa videos? Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel Itihasa series and share the video with your family and friends. We are also on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter with the same ID. You can follow us there too. The links are in the description box. Let us know your views and suggestions in the comment section below. Welcome to Itihasa series, taking you to your roots. Every generation is a bridge. It needs to pass on collected wisdom from the past to the younger generations. Let's get informed and inspired by Itihasa. The southwestern Indian coast has been a hub of Indian Ocean trade for centuries. Kottayam and the Malabar region in the current Kerala state were very popular due to the trade in the black gold of the era, pepper. In the 18th century, Hyder Ali of Mysore led many incursions into the Malabar region to expand his religious and territorial ambitions. During one such incursion, Kottayam was invaded. It is said that adversity reveals the true character of people. It was during this invasion that a 21-year-old prince, who was fourth in line of succession, marked himself out as different. The king of Kottayam fled to Travancore and sought asylum there. But Pazhassi Raja, the prince we spoke of, was born to make history. He refused to flee and stayed back to protect his people from the atrocities of Hyder Ali's army and became the de facto ruler of Kottayam. In the way he fought, again, Pazhassi Raja marked himself out as innovative and intelligent. He led an active resistance against the invaders but played to his own strengths. He knew that battling Hyder Ali out in the open would be difficult as he did not have the resources for a prolonged battle. So, he did what the Marathas did to the Mughals. He engaged in guerrilla warfare, leaving Hyder Ali confused and clueless as his army dwindled within no time. The people of Kottayam could see that Pazhassi Raja had put his subjects and country's interests ahead of his own. They also saw that their king was standing between the invaders and them. This gained him massive respect from his subjects. The British used Talasheri as their harbour and naval base. Hyder Ali, in collaboration with the local ruler, imposed an economic blockade to break the backbone of the British. The British were finding it hard to fight Hyder Ali, so they sought the help of Pazhassi Raja. Pazhassi Raja saw this as an opportunity to gain freedom for Kottayam when two invaders were fighting. He made a deliberate tactical alliance with the British. The understanding between the British and Pazhassi Raja was that at the end of the hostilities, the independence of Kottayam would be recognized. Pazhassi Raja won the war for the British. However, the wily British failed to honor their commitment when Malabar as a whole came under their control under the Treaty of Srirangapatnam. They appointed Pazhassi Raja's uncle Veeravarma as the king of Kottayam. Violation or breaching of trust was a part of British East India Company's strategy to expand their imperialism. Although Pazhassi Raja was angered, he still drew solace from the fact that Kottayam was now under a native king. The British then made new laws regarding the cultivation of pepper, which heavily burdened the peasants with new taxes. This was something that angered Pazhassi Raja would not put up with, because he did not mind making personal sacrifices, but he would never allow the oppression of his people. He led an uprising against the British. This is why Pazhassi Raja is known as Kerala Simham. One can be appointed as king, but becoming a leader is a different thing altogether. Pazhassi Raja was a leader because he constantly thought of the welfare of others. He made sure that no tax was collected in Kottayam by the British as a mark of his protest. He also successfully mobilized people of all castes and classes against the British. British were frustrated with the growing influence of Pazhassi Raja. They weren't getting the taxes they hoped they would receive, so they sent an army from Bombay, as it was known then. Pazhassi Raja's palace was sacked, but he managed to flee in the forests of Wayanad. The British were beaming at their success. But what they did not know is they had jumped right out of the frying pan into the fire. Forests were Pazhassi Raja's forte. He started to build an army to wage guerrilla warfare and establish strategic camps which were positioned across the thick forests of Wayanad. Pazhassi Raja secretly built an elaborate system of cantonments and forts in thick jungles and mountainous areas of his country. The British, with no knowledge of the deep forests, began to suffer humiliating losses. A detachment of 1,100 men under Major Cameron was sent to capture Pazhassi Raja, but the Raja's men laid a trap for them. He ordered his troops to lay concealed in camouflage stockades built on both sides of the pass. Once the whole British force entered the narrow pass, hidden troops pounced on their enemy who was caught unawares. The onslaught was so severe that only a few British soldiers returned alive. Such conflicts continued for the next 4 years until the British came up with their peace treaty with Pazhassi Raja. As a part of the agreement, Veeravarma was deposed as Raja and Pazhassi Raja's elder brother Ravi Varma was appointed as the new monarch. Pazhassi Raja's land that had been taken from him was returned. But we already know how honest the British are when it comes to walking the talk. Later, the British sent Major General Arthur Wellesley. He launched a pincer campaign to capture the Rajas. Pazhassi Raja's devastating guerrilla campaign pinned Wellesley's army down and killed a large number of British soldiers. This war went on for 13 years and is recorded as the Cotiote War. The Cotiote War, waged by Pazhassi Raja, is the only war in which the globally acclaimed Arthur Wellesley failed. The Cotiote War of 13 years also happens to be the longest war fought by the East India Company during their conquests in India and was much longer than the Anglo-Mysore Wars, Anglo-Maratha Wars, Anglo-Sikh Wars and Polygar Wars. The British were nowhere near even tracing Pazhassi Raja in the forest of Wayanad. Wellesley returned empty-handed. He was recalled from India to Britain. He was disheartened, and in one of his dispatches to England he said that the British would have a difficult time winning as long as Pazhassi Raja was alive. Pazhassi Raja was formidable, a patriot with an indomitable will. British could not bribe him or manipulate him because he had no selfish motives or personal interests. Arthur Wellesley later defeated the famous Napoleon Bonaparte using some of the guerrilla warfare techniques which he had learned from his encounters with Pazhassi Raja. Remember this, the celebrated Wellesley who humbled Napoleon had earlier been humbled by Pazhassi Raja, whom many Indians aren't even aware of. Coming back to India, the British were peeved by innocent losses. They sent another civil servant, T.H. Barber, to pin Pazhassi Raja down. T.H. Barber hired some local people who had sound knowledge of the dense Wayanad forests. They mingled with Pazhassi Raja's army and leaked the information about his whereabouts. Pazhassi Raja's men did figure out the treachery, but it was too late. He was ambushed in a fierce gun battle and wounded. The wounded king raised his loaded gun and told T.H. Barber not to come too close to his dying body and pollute it. Pazhassi Raja's contempt and sarcasm for the colonizers and their collaborators was evident. He was too proud to let a foreigner's bullet take his life. He laid down his life by consuming poison. His dead body was cremated with military honors by the British. T.H. Barber observed, "I was induced to this conduct from the consideration that although a rebel, he was one of the natural chieftains of the country and might be considered on that account as a fallen enemy." Pazhassi Raja's sacrifice has made him a cult figure in the history of Kerala, and it is time that the rest of India learns about him too. Such are sacrifices that show us what leadership and fortitude are. If indomitable spirit has a name, it has to be Pazhassi Raja.